Knights of the Old Republic might be making a comeback, Lethal Weapon 5 might be happening, our first impressions of Legends of Runeterra, and more on You Heard with Nerds.
All right, welcome into the podcast. I'm Brett.
I'm Dorian.
And we got some nerd news for you guys.
We sure do.
But before we do that, thank you guys so much for listening. We greatly appreciate it. Just want to let you guys know about our Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Patreon's really cool. This is a way that all of you listening out there could help support the show. Keep the mics on, keep the lights on.
Yep.
You can go to patreon.com/withnerds. And there's different tiers, and this can give you access to early material on there, ad-free episodes, maybe some bonus episodes, depending on what tier you contribute to. So make sure you check that out. Just another way that you guys can support us, keep us doing what we're doing, because we love doing this, and so we want to do more with it. And so that's a way you can help contribute to the show. We'll give you some shout-outs here on the show. Yeah, go check it out.
Sweet.
All right, so we have some Star Wars news.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. What are the odds?
So Knights of the Old Republic is a pretty big staple in the video game franchise when it comes to, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, really.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, this is the game that put BioWare, I feel like, on the map, like, as a company. Like, those are the guys who are responsible for the Mass Effect games and the Dragon Age games and stuff. But, yeah, no, they might be making a comeback, potentially.
Yeah, so looks like info is coming from Cinelinx.com, which is claiming to have multiple sources, which, I mean, we'll see how true they are. We've heard different things, both of us. We've heard that it's going to be a remake.
Yep.
But we've also heard it's going to be a completely new game, too.
Right, yeah.
And so what are your theories on this?
So my theory is it's probably going to be both, in all honesty. There's probably like that's what
I'm thinking, too.
There's probably going to be a remake in the works first, just to kind of like, like build hype, build attention, and then there's probably like something like in like very, very early stage development of like a sequel to this. I think they'll probably kind of be like a wait and see approach and see how well the remake does potentially in terms of like whether or not they're going to go forward with this.
Yeah.
But I mean, here's the thing. The more I think about it, like, I'm really surprised this actually didn't happen sooner because EA owns the Star Wars license in terms of like video games. I think their deal is about 10 years roughly. So since like 2015, I want to say.
They only have about 5 years left, which is not a lot of time to develop games.
It is not a lot of time to develop games, but they also own BioWare too. Those are the guys that originally brought you Knights of the Old Republic here. So yeah, I mean, I don't understand how this hasn't happened yet. It kind of seems like a no-brainer and an easy win for both EA and BioWare.
Totally.
And, I mean, the original Knights of the Old Republic, I mean, here's the thing. Great game. I definitely think it's due for a remake, just something to, some extra bells and whistles, some polish or whatnot. But, I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to Knights of the Old Republic 2 here. But given BioWare's track record as of late, I'm a little skeptical on it. So, but we'll see. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, if they can really just, just really focus on like what people liked about the game originally, because there's like that one game that came out just recently. It's called Outer Worlds. It's basically made by, guys who both worked on Fallout and BioWare games in the past. And they kind of play it more towards like, this is like Knights of the Old Republic or this is like old Fallout or something like that. And people like received it pretty well. So
is it an indie game?
No, it's actually a full $60 game.
I never even heard of it.
Yeah, no, it's but yeah, it came out, I don't know, like maybe last October, November, or something like that. But yeah, I mean, people seem to like it. Seems like there's a market for it. So I would say, strike while the iron's hot. I mean, EA and BioWare, like I said, could use a win right now. This seems kind of like a no-brainer. At least just putting the remake out there would, be just fine.
Yeah, and I think that this is probably gonna happen with where Disney's deciding to go with the franchise and all that. Like, this would make a lot of sense.
Well, especially if those Knights of the Old Republic rumors pan out. Because
for the movies.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just
show.
It's just something that will like just kind of have hype build off of it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my kind of theory is very similar to yours. I think that we're gonna get a remake first.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna test the waters for, do people want this? And your answer is gonna be, I think, an overwhelming yes.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Especially, I mean, you could put the remake on the Switch,
mm-hmm.
which. I think the only thing they'll have to do is update kind of the controls a little bit, because it was it was a weird kind of turn-based but not turn-based RPG style.
It was like active turn-based where you were.
It was so weird.
Where like you were making your decisions like in real time.
Yeah, it was just I think
almost
it was
like a RTS kind of thing here
to an extent.
To an extent, yeah.
But what I think they need to capitalize off of if they're going to do the remake is kind of get rid of that system, to be honest.
So you wanted...
either make it purely turn-based or like Fallen Order.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Fallen Order, you kind of do... It would be kind of hard to like have like the same like feel and like RPG mechanics that you would have. I feel like you'd have to have it like
that's what I'm saying, is go full RPG with it, like Persona.
Yeah.
Where you have the the drop down menu, or I think that might be kind of weird for a Jedi game.
It would be kind of weird.
I just always remember that those controls just not being the most intuitive.
I mean,
and you get so mad if you input it and it didn't register or whatever, and like
it is one of those things where like, again, it's been probably the better part of like maybe 10 or 15 years since I've last played that game.
Yeah.
But I will say that, probably going back to it, the combat system probably does not hold up as well. And that might be something that they might have to like fine tune or tweak a little bit. I mean, maybe like something similar to like how, what they're doing with like the Final Fantasy games as of late, like where it's like more real time, but it still has like,
those work a lot better, I feel like, too. So yeah, if they did update that and make it more like Final Fantasy, I think it would do okay.
Yeah.
Just how it was, I remember I was so confused and so mad most of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's kind of what's going to happen with it. I doubt very heavily that they're just going to come out with a new game.
Yeah.
I mean, like, here's what they could do. If you're thinking like the Nintendo side of things, how they kind of do stuff sometimes is hey, this new game's coming out at the end of the year, and here's a remastered version coming out next week or right now.
Yeah.
That we've seen that with a lot of different, especially like Pokemon stuff. Like,
oh yeah,
they're like, hey, this DLC is coming out, and right now we have a remake of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, hard to say, I mean, because one of the things I don't think it will be coming to the Switch, just because EA is not really keen on like putting their stuff out on Switch.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I forgot they don't have Madden. A lot of those engines can't run on Switch though.
They can't, but I mean, you could still like kind of do like a port like they do of like other games here that are a lot more ambitious.
Jedi Academy's on there.
Yeah, Jedi Academy is on there. So I mean, that's probably due for a remake. You get some Fallen Order controls on that.
That would be dope.
That would be really dope. But speaking about Fallen Order,
especially PvP.
Oh, big time. Yeah, no.
And you could like make it go super fast, so you're like running extremely fast at each other. Did you ever do that?
I did not.
You could like up the speed and stuff.
I just remember like grabbing the rocket launcher, just like shooting people that were guarding the flag and stuff. But no, it was But on a side note, Fallen Order has sold essentially like twice the amount that it was projected to, because I think they estimated it was going to be like 15 million or 6 million copies sold. It sold 10 million copies. So this might be the message that, EA needs to kind of receive, or, saying like, hey, you don't try to screw over your fans. You don't try to like nickel and dime them for every little piece of DLC and content,
right?
And people will actually come and
buy the game.
Yeah,
support.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm excited they're learning the lesson because I feel like we need more Star Wars games in our lives.
We do, and I mean, it's honestly just one of the weirdest things that, EA is one of the biggest publishers, in the world here, and they always have like, a couple irons on, or irons in the fire here. There's always something being working on. They have a bunch of studios, and it's so weird to me that they don't have like, a bunch of Star Wars games coming out like every year or something like that.
No,
At least one.
Yeah, we don't need them every year. I'm just saying like more frequent would be nice besides Battlefront, because I might go back and touch it.
Yeah.
I don't like, but the games that are getting me are the Jedi games.
Yeah.
Like I love being a Jedi.
Sure, and absolutely. And I mean, who doesn't? But I mean, let's be honest about something. Like, did Battlefield or Battlefront really need a new game? Like, because I feel like they were going to do a Battlefront 3 if like Battlefront 2 wasn't going to be. And
I think it's just to make money.
Right. I mean, if they just had like one, just kind of updated it, added.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all of a sudden we get Battlefront 2. And I was like, wait, what?
Right. And you could have had like a completely different Star Wars game being made during that time.
Totally.
But, I digress.
Yeah, so in other news, we're moving into some of our game news, but Nintendo recently had their financials come out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so our headline is no Switch Pro in 2020.
No Switch Pro.
That's at least what it sounds like right now.
Yeah, the news comes from Nintendo's president, Shuntaro Furukawa. Basically, he said that in the financial report that they have no plans to bring a new Switch model, so that does include the Switch Pro or anything else that might be besides it.
Yeah.
We believe that it's important to communicate the appeal of both Nintendo Switch and systems and expand the installed base here. So, and just as a little reminder, the Switch just recently passed 52 million units sold worldwide. So
that's huge.
That's pretty big for the first.
That's 40 million more than what they sold for
right.
Wii U.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, so I mean, I'm personally okay with there not being a Switch Pro this year here. I mean, just because for one, I don't think my wallet could handle it.
No.
But two, it's just like, we're going to be coming into the third year of the Switch.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, if this is supposed to be kind of like the halfway point of like their 10-year plan, like they initially said that it was.
I could see at 5 years maybe giving us a little something.
I could see maybe next year potentially because, because it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I feel like if they want to keep, ports of like, current generation games or current gen hardware or something like that, they probably are going to need to upgrade like their processors and like all the other internals that would allow that to run on their, new machine. But I mean, the thing is like, if they were to like do something like this year, it might be they might be falling on their face if they do that, because reason being is like you're essentially competing with like Sony and Microsoft this fall, which I mean,
yeah, you don't want to do that.
I mean, historically, Nintendo hasn't had the best track record.
Well, even though Xbox is not like they beat out Xbox as far as units sold, and
sure,
they've only been out for 3 years,
right? But even then, it's like that could all change with like Xbox Series X here potentially, or I don't know whether or not it's going to be what the next gen's going to really be looking like. Who's going to be the odds-on favorite to like really start coming out the gate. But if they did like say something
Nintendo,
like, yeah, but if they did if they did something like kind of like what the launch of the Wii U, or sorry, not the Wii U, the Switch, where they say, hey, we're going to put this thing out in, March. It's going to be, X amount of dollars. It's not going to be necessarily directly competing with, Xbox and PlayStation here. That might work.
I think they have to give they're going to have to give a little bit more time than spring. I think it'd either be if these are coming out fall of this year.
Yeah.
at minimum fall of next year.
You think fall of next year?
If not spring of the following year.
Okay, gotcha.
Just so that because like you think about it,
yeah,
how many people get the new system right away versus over that first year and into the first holiday and maybe creeping over into the next holiday.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I mean,
There's
really
still people buying Xbox Ones.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
so I'm like,
well, I mean, this is kind of
10 years too late, you
right?
know, like however long it's been out.
But I mean, this is kind of the time if you're, taking like the discounted route to go, just because games or at least like the big ones, super cheap right now.
Yeah,
like a lot of the big hits you can get for like $20, maybe even less, and yeah, you typically can get a console with like a couple of games with it for full price here. So I mean, yeah, who knows? But
cool. Yeah. My kind of thought on it is Nintendo should never try to compete with them. Unless they come out with a system that's gonna be up to snuff on all graphics and everything, which is not going to happen because that's not what Nintendo does.
Not anymore, no. But it's just kind of, the more I think about it, the more it makes sense for them not to try to put anything out in the fall, because you have like the couple options, like you say, hey, here's a Switch. It's still a Switch, but it's going to be better than your current Switch, or here is a new brand console that's supposed to be like the newest cutting edge technology. It's supposed to like shatter your expectations, blah blah blah. This is going to be the next big thing for the next couple of years. I think people are going to just gravitate more towards that, because even though like Switch is not necessarily competing with them, like, for like the same type of audience per se, in terms of like a next gen or console gamer or whatever.
Yeah.
They're still competing for their wallet here.
Oh,
regardless.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why we need more games from them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, they shouldn't be focusing on, there's probably a different division for the hardware, but it's just kind of like, hey, how about you get working on the next Mario, or establishing some new IPs potentially.
Potentially, yeah. But I mean, yeah, no, we don't even know what 2020 is really going to be looking like for Nintendo. No, we still don't,
which I'm guessing second week of February, first week of February, we get another Direct.
Something like that, yeah.
So they didn't say anything in their financials either, which I thought that maybe around that time we'd get something, but we got nothing.
Yeah, so...
All right, moving into some movie news. Lethal Weapon 5 might be happening. For those of you who love you some mullet Mel Gibson, you're in luck.
Yep. He probably won't come back with the mullet here.
If he doesn't, I'm not watching it.
Yeah. He didn't for 4, I don't think.
I only saw the first 2, I think.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so this comes out from the Hollywood Reporter in an interview with one of the producers on it. And supposedly, both Mel Gibson and Danny Glover are coming back.
Yeah.
Now, I saw... You had to remind me that... Because I'm like, what has Danny Glover been in? Jumanji, the next level.
Jumanji, yeah.
And he's looking super duper old.
Yeah. No, absolutely he is. I mean, there's the quote from the movie. They're too old for this crap.
Yep.
But
a curse word.
Yeah.
Kids.
But yeah, so I mean, it's one of the, this will probably become the next in the line of movies that tries to recapture like, a popular franchise from the 80s and just falls on its face, or there's just not
100%.
A lot of people turning out for it. Because I mean, here's the thing. I like the first 3 Lethal Weapon movies. Like, I think they're fun. I think they're good action movies. They're funny. That being said, I'm not really excited about this here. And also there's no word on Shane Black. If he's coming back, he's one of the big writers that worked on, I think, the first 3.
Okay.
And so we have no idea what his involvement is so far. Nothing's been confirmed or denied. So I mean, that definitely would lower my excitement level if he's not coming back.
Sure. Yeah, so for me, this could be comedy gold. I mean, it's a Lethal Weapon 5 geriatric unit.
It most certainly is, yes.
How could, like, Danny Glover, they got to be in the 70s, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean...
how could they possibly still be cops?
So, here's my theory. So...
There's no way.
So, Mel Gibson...
He could still be a cop, maybe.
He could still be a cop because, I mean, he was in Expendables fairly recently, I think.
I saw him in Daddy's Home, too.
Yeah, but...
Doesn't look horrible. He looks still old.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. But he still could probably, manage to do, like... you just have to use that stunt.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but can you imagine these
guys
guys even trying to do stunts? Like, there's no way.
No. But that being said, it's like, you could have Mel Gibson's character still be like a cop. He's just like one of those guys that is too stubborn to retire, and then Danny Glover's character, he could be like essentially like a police academy instructor or something like that, or somebody who kind of like, or maybe like a captain or a lieutenant or something like that. Somebody who sits behind a desk or something, potentially. Then they get pulled into something.
Yeah.
But yeah, because
I just think it's going to be more of a buddy cop comedy than anything. It has to be.
Well,
it has to
be. I think it has to be, but I think that's like probably how it'll start out, and then it'll like just go back to like, Mel Gibson.
The good old days.
Yeah, Mel Gibson and Danny Glover just kind of like doing their own thing and like trying to take the law into their own hands, basically like what they did in every single Lethal Weapon movie.
Yeah, breaking the law.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, so heading into some Marvel news. Falcon and Winter Soldier moves up their release date.
Yeah, which...
Cool.
All good things.
Yeah, all good things, I
mean, provided that they're not...
Rushing it
or like, cheapening the post-production side of things, because, I mean... Special effects do take time, but if they feel confident that they can get the special effects done and put this out earlier, all for it. But I mean, this is the thing that I am looking forward to the most from the Marvel Phase 4 announcement or whatever.
Yeah, and they moved the time frame originally.
It was like fall, right?
Yeah. So now it's like late summer, so it's August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think the main reason for them doing this is just because they want to spread out their shows a little bit more. Just because
makes sense.
Because I mean, you have Mandalorian coming back in the fall.
Yeah,
we're not entirely sure where WandaVision's going to be taking place. Maybe between.
I don't think anyone cares.
I personally don't.
I'm not going to watch it.
I mean, I haven't seen anything of it, from what I've heard of it, it doesn't sound like it really appeals to me.
And this could also be because Hawkeye's not not in production.
There's been like some confliction on that because there's been people who say yes, it's on hold, and then there's been people that say no, it's not. Kind of like similar to how
Kenobi,
Kenobi and all that. But no, it's so. My guess is Disney is kind of hurting for subscribers right now because Mandalorian was the big show that kind of drew people in. That's done right now. And you do have Clone Wars, but that's not going to draw in like the same amount of people or the same crowd.
No, not as many, no.
Right. So that being said, I feel like they have to, say, okay, we need to like have a schedule in place. That way people do not cut the cord on us, too soon and constantly be giving like a new show every 3 months or something like that. But
yeah, so my theory is, knowing Disney, they're never hurting for anything.
I mean, not at this point.
They could probably self-fund that thing for a decade and be fine.
Probably at this rate, yeah.
With all that Marvel money and all that Star Wars money.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
I think most of this is probably with delays with other properties that maybe they've run into, like Hawkeye, like Kenobi, like maybe these other series that we don't know about yet. They've maybe run into some snags, and they're like, hey, we're going to move this show up. And maybe also, like, the biggest thing could be with how well received The Mandalorian was and not wanting to compete on their, like, not on their own space, but like you're saying, kind of space that out a little better.
Yeah.
Moving up this so that maybe this actually leads right into Mandalorian hitting.
Right, yeah. Like there might be like maybe
a couple weeks or a month gap.
Exactly, yeah.
And then here comes Mandalorian, because like if they're going to continue with their schedule where they're releasing one episode a week.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be fine, like as far as the layout goes, and potentially even through the next couple of years having stuff constantly coming out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, it will be, I mean, yeah, I mean the whole like, Hawkeye and Kenobi drama, we don't really know what's going on with those shows in particular.
No, yeah.
We probably won't know until like maybe Comic-Con or D23 or Star Wars Celebration or something like that. But at this point in time, I mean, yeah, they do need to like have a more robust lineup of shows in order to really sell this thing to, just the average person. Because I mean, the thing is like if you have kids, Disney Plus is a no-brainer.
Oh, so easy.
I mean,
all those kid movies, you
need
classics, new ones. Lion King just came to it.
Exactly. You need a moment that you just don't have to like. You just need to preoccupy the kids for like a couple hours. Put on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
you're good.
It's easy.
It's easy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, other comic book news.
Mm-hmm.
This has nothing to do with the MCU. Looking at the DCEU on the small screen.
Yep.
AKA the Arrowverse.
Yep.
Something that's been hinting at throughout the years is that John Diggle
mm-hmm.
could be becoming a Green Lantern someday.
Yep.
And he just may have in the last episode.
Yeah, the final episode of Arrow.
Which, there's certain things alluding to it, like his father's actual last name is Stewart on the show. For those of you who don't know, John Diggle's first name is John,
mm-hmm.
and if his dad's last name is Stewart, maybe him and his dad and mom split up, and he went with his mom. He took his mom's maiden name,
or they never married, or something like that.
Yeah. And then so he's actually John Stewart, which for those of you who know the comics or know, maybe you watched Justice League or Justice League Unlimited growing up.
Yeah,
John Stewart is the name of a Green Lantern.
Yep. Yeah, he's
Earth's Green Lantern. Their backup Green Lantern to Hal Jordan.
Yep.
And so, just kind of setting the stage before I get your opinion, Dorian, but, so basically there's this scene, and John Diggle and his family are moving to Metropolis.
Right.
And John's packing up this kind of ghetto moving van, I guess. It's just literally just a van.
Okay.
And so his family leaves, and he sees kind of this streak in the sky, a meteor's coming, and hits near him, and he goes flying back into his van.
Yeah.
Then he kind of gets up, shakes himself off, because that's what happens.
Yep.
In this universe, if you get hit almost with a meteor, you survive.
It's just a scratch.
Yeah, not even. Yeah, I think he's just like, it's just normal to get thrown back like 10, 15, 20 feet.
I mean, to be fair, like John Diggle, he's seen some stuff here. He's gone through quite a bit, like over the course of this show. So.
Oh yeah, now he's a pretty built dude. Like,
yeah.
So anyway, he gets up, he walks over. He's looking kind of, I don't know what the term would be. He's kind of, I guess, puzzled by this meteorite and what's going on here. He reaches into the meteorite.
Yeah.
And there's a box.
Real safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he saw it with all that smoke. He saw it. The camera pans to just looking right at him, basically, instead of behind him.
Yeah, so you don't really see what's in the box.
No, it flips open the box, and this green light is emitting pretty heavily, and it kind of covers his face.
Yep.
Alluding to it is a ring sent by the Green Lantern Corps.
Yep.
Now, with that being said, what does this mean for the CW?
See, that's the thing, is like, this really just gives you more questions than answers here, because it's been a theory for a long time that John Diggle would be, or he's connected to John Stewart and being a Green Lantern or something like that.
Yeah.
So is this just fan service for those people who have always said, oh yeah, he's going to be the Green Lantern eventually, or is this going to be like the CW's version of the Green Lantern? Like, will he actually pop up in Supergirl being full-fledged Green Lantern like at some point, or is this going to like actually have any ties with like the HBO Max series here?
Right. Yeah, so my guess is mostly fan service just because they've hinted at it throughout the whole series of Arrow.
Right, yeah.
And he is like, I don't know if it was intentional or not when they were creating the character. He is very, very
similar
to Jon Stewart background. They're both
Marine,
ex-Marines.
Yep.
Man, if they actually did plan it from the beginning, like,
I mean, that's
kudos.
That's some incredible foresight for one here, but I don't think they did, to be honest with you.
I don't think so either, but
I mean,
because really he was at the beginning of Arrow. What I remember at least is he was basically just hired to be Oliver's bodyguard.
No, he was, and then like he eventually became kind of Oliver's right-hand man, and he would sometimes kind of like substitute Arrow for him or substitute Vigilante for him, where if Oliver needed to like have an alibi, he'd say, "All right, John, you're up. You're gonna wear the hood tonight here and stuff."
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I don't know how this plays in the HBO Max series. I mean, he kind of fits the bill for a Jon Stewart if you're gonna cast one.
No, he absolutely does. I mean, if you've watched Justice League Unlimited or the series that came before it, he absolutely looks like Jon Stewart here. I mean, I mean, he would still make a just great Jon Stewart, just regardless.
Yeah, and I think with like the convergence of the different universes and different Earths and stuff and how that's worked out, maybe this is a John from a different Earth that maybe the actor's getting cast on that show. I don't know. He's going to be Jon Stewart. Don't know how that's going to work, but
yeah.
Or if it'll take place on this Earth or like the Earth with the Titans on it, or the other shows on kind of the HBO Max / DC Universe kind of tilt there. Like,
again, more questions than answers on this.
Oh
one,
yeah, for
because,
sure.
I mean, this is like opening a big can of worms on like Arrow's last episode here, and this could have been like, if this was like during like, I don't know, like say like this
season 4 or 5 or something like
or
that.
like or even like the last season's like season finale or something like that, and it's like, oh snap, so he's gonna essentially become Green Lantern in the next season or something like that. There's not really like a clear trajectory on like what this is all going to mean,
right? Yeah, and I don't think there needs to be. Like, my guess is purely alone it's fan service, but here's the kind of the kicker is John and his family are moving to Metropolis.
Yes.
Which, after this convergence of the universes, is literally just across the bay from
Star City.
Or is it Star? I think it is Star City. I can't remember.
It was called Starling.
That's right.
At the
and
beginning,
then
and then they changed it to Star. Which, okay,
sure. So yeah, essentially it's across the bay, and so they're moving across the bay, and my guess is he's going to be maybe guest spotting on Supergirl.
That again, that would be my. That
especially with his wife running Argus still, I think, maybe.
Well, okay, so
or a organization similar.
Well, because so let's back that up here real quick, because during like the Infinite Crisis storyline, like his wife is like the harbinger for like the Monitor person or something like that.
I don't even know.
And so now she's not, or something like that sounds like kind of like maybe a downgrade or like a depromotion or something like that. But
yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, so there's it's I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
I mean that's literally all we can do is just wait and see kind of how this pans out.
Yeah,
I really like the actor. I think he could do the HBO Max series if that was given to him. I think he could run away with it and do a really good job.
No, I agree with that.
So yeah, we'll see. Mm-hmm. More DC news now to the comics, and potentially my favorite news in a long time, guys.
Okay,
because here's something that has happened that I never ever thought would happen in a comic book ever.
Really?
Okay. No. Just because it's very different. Like so in I think it's the latest episode, or not episode, issue of The Flash.
Yeah.
Barry gets a new power to essentially where his body becomes yellow or gold, if you will. He gets really kind of flustered. You could call it rage-filled.
Sure,
and he kind of emits this yellow energy around him.
Gee, Brett, who could that be similar to here?
So one could be, I think someone could be like, man, that kind of looks like the Super Saiyan transformation in Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
And you would be 100% correct. And they even referenced that. That's how meta this episode was. He's like, yeah, I call it going Super Saiyan. And I'm like, okay, so either Dragon Ball exists in a show form or some kind of form in the Flash, the DC universe. Yeah. And so it kind of reminds me of like the Broly Rage. Like if anyone knows who Broly is, when he transforms, he can't control it. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what happened in this issue, is that the Flash gets this transformation, he can't control it, and he goes into this rage. And so, yeah, Super Saiyan is part of the DC universe, which I was stoked on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Now Superman can go Super Saiyan.
Batman can go Super Saiyan.
Everyone goes Super Saiyan.
Yep, absolutely. But, yeah, well, it's kind of, I don't know. I'm not super surprised by this because I feel like DC has referenced, like, other intellectual properties before, like Star Wars and a few other things, that I think Doctor Who as well. So, I mean, I don't know exactly like what are the lines you have to like stay between in order for it not to be like copyright infringement or something like that.
Well, he straight up says Super Saiyan.
He does say Super Saiyan, but there might not be a trademark on the word.
Oh, no, there is. There is, 100%.
I mean,
there is.
Yeah, but no, it's interesting. It's really interesting. But another DC comic news. So this is a tease that Scott Snyder and Greg, I think it's Greg Capullo, the guys who essentially were
working on New 52 Batman.
Yeah, who did New 52 Batman. They also did the Metal Knight saga and all that.
I don't even know what that is.
That's the one where you have like the Batman
Meta Knight from Kirby?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, that's the one where like Batman is like the Batman who laughs, who has
like, the Joker.
Yeah, the Joker, and he's got like those spikes across his eyes and stuff. But
that looks interesting.
Yeah, no, I probably might look into like picking that up maybe sometime eventually.
Like graphic novel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But basically, so it kind of seems like they're kind of teasing like Wonder Woman for that universe essentially, and what it is she has a chainsaw that is powered by her lasso of truth. So literally the cord. So the cord on the chainsaw is lasso of truth.
That's too much.
So here's the thing. You know, for one, that's kind of hilarious, for one.
Yeah.
But
so are they like villains in this universe? Or
you know, I know Batman in that universe is forgive me if I am completely botching this whole story, but from what I understand, Batman defeats the Joker. I think he ends up killing him in that universe, but he ends up getting hit with like Joker toxin to the point where he becomes essentially the next Joker here. And so he becomes like the villain of that universe, or at least as far as we know here.
So I just pulled up the Wikipedia.
Okay.
Don't know how accurate this is.
Okay.
The Batman Who Laughs is a fictional character in DC Comics. He is a supervillain.
Yeah.
In the evil counterpart and alternate version of Batman within the multiverse.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's depicted as a hybrid of both Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Batman's arch enemy, Joker.
Yeah.
And is a member of the Dark Knights. Let's see. Yeah, created by Snyder and Capullo. So he's from a different Earth, Earth 22.
Mm-hmm.
Joker learns of Batman's identity as Bruce Wayne and kills most of Batman's other rogues along with Commissioner Gordon. He then subjects thousands of Gotham City citizens to the chemicals that transformed him. Subsequently killing several parents in front of their children with the goal of turning them into a combination of himself and Batman. When Batman grapples with the Joker, it results in the latter's death as Batman is exposed to a purified form of the chemical that gradually turn him into a new fusion of Batman and the Joker. One with Bruce Wayne's intelligence and physical strengths and the Joker's
cunning and all that.
Like his basically just sadistic sense of humor, and his psychosis, basically him being a psychopath.
Okay, so I mostly had it right for the most part here.
Totally.
So, yeah, so
I want to read this. This looks cool.
Yeah, no, it does sound
very creepy looking Batman though.
Very creepy looking Batman, but also it's it is an interesting storyline, it sounds like. But no, I mean, so I think Metal Knights focus mostly on that Batman and like that Batman story and like conflicts with that Batman.
That makes sense.
I think what they're teasing, or at least like what I've seen online, what people are speculating is this essentially is going to be the Wonder Woman version of that universe here.
So apparently there's already a graphic novel.
Yeah.
We should go to the comic book store and check these out.
We probably should. But
maybe do a deep dive on it.
Maybe.
Oh, they did have this. They had that the first book at the comic book store when we went.
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, it had like the Batman with like the yellow outline. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. So
that one.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll have to go check that out here. But that being said, yeah, it's a I mean, getting back onto the Wonder Woman track here. So, here's the thing. I get it. This is an alternate universe.
Yeah.
You're kind of going to like some dark places in this universe.
Oh, yeah.
But
is everyone going to have like a little bit of Joker in them then, or is it going to be depending on?
I don't know. But I mean, the picture of Wonder Woman does not look like she has she's really affected, but it's like a chainsaw. Like that's like the one thing that you thought like, okay, what should Wonder Woman have? This ancient Amazon warrior here.
Give her a chainsaw.
Let's give her a chainsaw. Not like something that's like, equally like, metal, like a Morning Star or something like that, or I don't know. It just seems like such an odd choice for that here. But
I'm trying to find maybe this is it.
And I mean, I feel like
she just looks like Wonder Woman to me.
Yeah, just with the chainsaw, yeah. But I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like this is done just to like, pique people's interest and sell comics here. And because pretty much like 90% of like what they do in comics is essentially shock factor, or like, something that they'll just do something so crazy that they're like, okay, people are just going to like go and buy this out of curiosity. Like, let's have,
that's why I would buy it.
Yeah. Like, let's have Thor be a woman. Let's have Iron Man be a woman. Let's have Commissioner Gordon be Batman. Like stuff like that legitimately makes no sense for, the continuity of the comics, but they're just like, you know what, we'll just flip the script, see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, she looks a little bit more feral than normal.
Yeah.
Like she's been through some stuff, which she probably has in this universe.
Oh, yeah,
so
no, absolutely.
We'll see how that pans out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for our news. We're going to take a quick break and be back with our roundtable review. All right, we're back from our commercial break. Heading into a roundtable review. Dorian, take it away.
All right, so first off, you've been playing Persona 5. First time, right?
First time, long time.
Yep.
Whatever that means.
So what are your first impressions on it here?
First impressions of Persona 5. This game is super addictive.
Yeah.
The pace is slower than some games as of right now for me.
Yeah.
I think mainly, this is spoiler free because honestly I haven't played much of the game. I've played like 2 hours, 3 hours of it.
Yeah.
This is a game that takes place between two worlds essentially.
Essentially, yeah.
That are part of more. It's one world, but two perspectives, I'll say, kind of on the one world.
Right. I mean, there's like the other world people are unaware of exists. Essentially, it takes place in like modern day, like Tokyo for the most part.
Yep. Yeah. So for me, I'm to a point where one of the guys. So essentially, you're building a team with people with personas. Mm-hmm. You could also capture personas, which are
essentially like
Pokemon-ish. Can you evolve them? Or you can only fuse them, right?
You can fuse them. Yeah, you don't necessarily evolve them like you do in like a traditional Pokemon. But
so that's really cool. I like the idea of that. The combat's pretty fun. The story's really interesting right now.
Yeah.
Dealing with kind of with real world problems, like
yeah.
And what I mean by that is like problems that happen in everyday life, like potentially.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Like the first story arc is kind of has to do with like abuse, like and stuff like that, and so
yeah.
The main protagonists get clues from the other dimension, and then kind of take them in the real world and try to figure out what's going on and try to help people, basically.
Yeah.
And it has a noir feel to it. And what I mean by that is like old school, like 70s, like Starsky and Hutch almost. Like,
okay,
like the music and even like the end of the fight after you fight, and it's like you get this much stuff.
Very stylistic.
Very stylistic. It's like bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like happy and like kind of this interesting that kind of fades really well into
a lot of acid jazz in this game.
Yeah, it's super cool. I mean, for me, it's just been a lot of fun. Definitely a play. Like pick it up. I am not far enough to really give my opinion on whether it's worth $60 or not, but you seem to say it is. So
yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't go for $60 anymore. It's like I think probably
40,
around 20 actually.
Oh, then yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's I mean, speaking from somebody who's put like about 100 hours into this game, roughly somewhere around there. I mean, if you're somebody who likes JRPGs, like, you know, and you've been wanting a good JRPG for a while, I feel like this is definitely one that will scratch that itch. And you don't have to necessarily be a Persona fan to get into this.
No, I've never heard of Persona before this game.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I feel like this does a really good job of introducing new players. It's not something you have to do that or you have to be familiar with. I will say, you know, kind of like as you were saying, the beginning, it's definitely slow, typical of most JRPGs.
Yeah, it's set in the story.
Yeah, but once as you kind of get past that phase and like you actually get to the point where you're actually, you know, able to, you know, really get into the meat of the game, it's honestly really great.
Okay, perfect.
So
yeah, I'm not saying it's slow in a bad sense. I'm just saying like for storytelling purposes, it's a little bit slower.
Sure, absolutely.
I've probably only fought a handful of bad guys in the 2 to 3 hours that I've played.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good game. I like it so far. So
sounds good. So next
our review will be ongoing.
Yes. So next up we have Legends of Runeterra. So this is a game made by the guys who made League of Legends, Riot.
Yep.
They essentially made a card game based on kind of the lore around League of Legends here for the most part. So now you're a big card and strategy guy here. So what do you think about this game so far?
I love this game. The biggest aspect of it's not pay to win, which most card games are.
Very much so, yeah.
If you have the money to get the good cards, your decks, and you're a decent pilot of your deck, you're gonna win, probably.
Yep. Or duelist, as some circles like to call them.
The Yu-Gi-Oh community.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've played a little bit of Hearthstone. That's what it's really reminiscent of is Hearthstone. You know, like,
you
just don't have to spend as much money, which I love. A lot of the current in-game currency could buy you anything pretty much. In the game, you get, and this is what's really cool about this. You don't have to just buy packs to open them and try to hope for the card you want.
Yeah,
you could save up your shards, which are the in-game currency.
Yeah,
and buy cards specifically out of the collection.
So you're not just relying on a random drop or something like that.
Which is, to me, that's like, you know, we talked earlier about EA listening to the fans. This is Riot really listening, I think, the fans of a lot of these games going, I don't want to pay this much for that game. I don't want to sink every paycheck I have into this thing.
Yeah.
So what is something, and I think it creates more buy-in when you do it like that. They'll want to give you money.
Yeah.
So the game keeps going. Like,
no, absolutely.
Similar to other games, like most of the stuff you can buy is cosmetic. Like you can get different game boards where it looks different. You can get like different little guys. Like basically, it's all cosmetic. How the game looks for you.
Yeah.
And so I really like what they're doing. It's super easy and quick to pick up on how to make decks. There's already people making deck lists, so you can go out there and find it. There's a YouTuber called Swim, and he does a good job of, hey, here's what the meta is looking like right now, and it's ever changing just because people are just trying to figure out the game. And then there's just different elements. Like there's a thing called Expedition, which if you haven't tried, you should try.
I have not. No.
It's kind of like basically you're going through like different battles. You get a lot of free stuff from these.
Really?
So when you start, you get one free coin, and then every Tuesday they have like
challenges. And
no, every Tuesday they have like it'll say it like in kind of like a weekly loot box.
Okay.
But basically, the higher you level that up, the more stuff you get out of it. So the more you're playing the game, the more you get back.
Okay.
And it'll have one of those expedition coins in it.
Yeah.
Which you could go out and spend. I recently had one from just getting when you download the game, you get one free one. Mm-hmm. Then you get another one with the loot box, which I got on Tuesday, and it's really fun. It's a draft kind of situation, but it's way different than other drafts I've seen. They give it to you like in blocks, so you get like 3 cards at a time, and you could choose like from these different heroes, and you could choose like this different. Basically, you're choosing your strategy as you go.
Interesting.
If you haven't checked it out, check it out.
Okay.
It's free to play, and I can actually say that it is free to play. You don't have to spend money on it.
Yeah, not free to start here or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the decks you get at the beginning, and you could probably attest to this because you've played some of the starter decks.
Yeah.
They're actually good.
No, I mean
they're competitive for the most part. Like at least with new people.
Yeah. What's a second deck that you get in what's that deck called that you get when you start the game?
Do you remember what houses they are? I think it's the Demacia Freelorn, so like the white and the blue house.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it was the one that has the one character Braum in it.
Yeah, that's Demacia.
Okay, yeah.
I think.
No, that deck
Freelorn
is really fun to play, and it's like, and that was just a basic build of that deck without it being like actually fine-tuned to my preference here. So no, I think I mean, here's the thing, I'm not much of a card game guy. I kind of got into it, got burned out on it, but this is a good time. I mean, it doesn't really cost anything. It seems like all of the things that you need to succeed in this game, you earn in the game. You don't have to pay for.
Right.
And I'd like the simplicity of it. Like all the rules are baked in.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about like kind of like a system that's just kind of half put together, and you want it to be and you have to have an extensive knowledge of the rules. There'll be times where the games will remind you like, hey, you can't do this right now, man. You have to do this first, then you can do that.
Right.
So yeah, no, I mean, I think it's I think if you're into it, or if you have like some sort of interest in it, check it out.
Yep, I agree. It's really fun. I've had a lot of good time with it. Pick it up or download it. It's free.
Yeah.
On PC.
Yep.
And then I think maybe iPad. It's on the App Store, but it's not for
iPhone.
Yeah, so probably iPad and Mac, I'm guessing.
Possibly, yeah.
So yeah, check it out. It's a good time.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
All right, so we are talking about Byleth, the newest Smash Brothers Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what you have to say because I don't have the fighter pass, and so I'm wondering, is this a character worth picking up, really?
So I'm going to approach this from 2 different perspectives here. So casual-wise, I think Byleth is somebody that people will enjoy playing. I mean, the moveset is pretty straightforward. It's simple. There's not like you don't have to like go into the move list set and say, okay, what does this move do? It's pretty self-explanatory.
Cool.
They did a good job of designing the moveset around the weapons and the things that you do in Fire Emblem Three Houses. Plus, not to mention the color variants. You get to be the different house leaders in terms of like the different.
That's dope. I do like that.
Different shades.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, it's a nice touch. Competitive wise, I think Byleth is lacking. And here's the thing. I am not a super good Smash Bros. Player. I'm decent maybe at best. But, that being said, it's just like, there are things that I'm seeing from Byleth, and also just when I was playing against Byleth online, that I'm like, yeah, this kind of seems like this is not going to be well suited for competitive play. So, a couple of details about that. The side smash. Well, let me get into like what's good about Byleth first. So, the side smash, side special, or your side B, they have a lot of utility because they have a lot of range. They actually do a lot of damage and have a lot of killing power. The up special or the up B is his or her best move because a lot of utility with it. You can, it's good for recovery. It's also good for edge guarding because what you do is like you break out your sword where it turns into a whip, and then
you can grapple on,
you
basically
grapple up to
hook.
them. But the kicker is so you essentially like kick them down, and so that boosts you up, so it gives you more height. But it also kind of has a meteor effect, so you could send people down. So
that's sick.
So if somebody's trying to like recover,
you can jump out on purpose.
You can jump out on purpose, like grab them, pull them down below the stage to where they can't like jump back up onto the stage, and then you have enough height to get back onto the stage. So
this sounds like a Tim Seabrook character.
Oh yeah, and not to mention too, like, so let's say like you're trying to recover on the stage and the sword whip only gets you to like, like it's supposed to grab onto the edge. It's kind of like, other characters like Simon or like Sheik or, Link and whatnot.
Yeah.
So let's say you miss your mark or you're not able to get there in time. You can literally grapple onto the bottom of the stage. It'll pull you closer and then you can grapple again.
Oh my gosh.
So this is like not,
that's dope.
So this is not a move that, so this is not a move that like, most like up Bs in the game where if you use it once in the air, you can't use it again until you hit the ground. This is like, you can use it like, again, like without hitting the ground or falling to your death here, which I think is kind of broken.
That's cool. That'd be fun to play.
Yeah. So I would say, Byleth, very good at juggling. His or her sword has like a lot of reach in terms of like their up smash and all that. And plus, not to mention, you have the up B that can kind of like, help you set up combos or like end a combo. So no, I think, just because of the extra range that they have with their up smash and like their up or like their jump attacks, I think definitely lends to that. Now kind of getting into a little bit of, what kind of makes Byleth a more limiting character. So for one, I feel like if you're really going to play Byleth, you want to have it, you want to be playing a stage that has a lot of platforms. So kind of like Battlefield where you have like those 3 platforms, because a lot of your attacks will like, reach above those platforms so you can actually hit people from like all sorts of different angles and whatnot, and gives you an advantage. That being said, Byleth is slower than probably most of the Fire Emblem characters and does not fare well against like the faster characters. Like I was playing Roy as always.
Roy's your boy.
Roy's my boy. And against a bunch of people online. And I ran into a bunch of Byleths, and pretty much like 9 times out of 10 when I go against a Byleth, I would win, just because most of the times like their moveset and like just how quickly they can like, throw out a move is slower compared to Roy. So pretty much, 9 times out of 10, I would beat them in terms of like getting that, just being more aggressive and being able to, knock them off the stage here for the most part.
Right.
But, and then half of the special moves I would say are very punishable, because you have like the down B, which like charges up an axe for like a really strong attack. And then you also have the bow, which if you hold it back enough and like really charge it, you can't like get out of those animations until you get hit or they're over. So, so if you have somebody that knows what they're doing, they can get behind you, charge up an attack of their own, and then
take you down.
Take you down, exactly. So overall, I mean, my personal feelings on Byleth, I'm someone who typically gravitates to Fire Emblem characters. I like how they play. I like their style, their moveset, all that other stuff. But Byleth just doesn't really do it for me, in all honesty.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. And I'll quote the Smash Bros. Background, but we like Ike.
We like Ike.
We like Ike.
And Roy's my boy.
And Roy's your boy.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm maybe we'll play a little bit after this because I kind of want to see the character.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But like, yeah, I think this is just another Fire Emblem character. We're kind of
over him.
Yeah, we're kind of over him.
I mean, it's fine. It's just not. I mean, just given like the last couple of DLC characters where like everybody is kind of like, surprised about who came out and like how or what additions they've made to the game and all that. This is definitely like less amazing or crazy or whatever you want to call it here.
Right. One last thing before we go. I just want to give everyone a heads up on the XFL. I was gonna look at their roster this week because they made their finalized roster moves.
Oh, did they?
But they haven't released like their depth charts yet, so I don't know who their starting people are.
Okay.
But as soon as those comes out, which I'm guessing is this next week, because the XFL starts this week, I guess, because Monday this is coming out, and so you guys are listening to this on Monday. This Saturday is when the XFL starts. So
yeah,
it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. Have you picked a team yet?
No, I'm gonna kind of take a wait and see approach and kind of just see who I like, because I mean,
you'll have to come over and watch the first game.
I probably will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking so. So first game's on Saturday.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think Seattle's playing on Saturday. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys. That's all we got for today, really.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Look for our Thursday throwback. We're reversing. A lot of people say Throwback Thursday.
Yeah.
But we're going to call it the Thursday Throwback. We're going to be looking at, and not me because I'm not in this episode, but Dorian and our friend Tim are looking at Resident Evil 4 in an in-depth analysis, and they go pretty deep.
Maybe a little too in-depth here.
I would say so. But yeah, we greatly appreciate you guys listening. You can check us out on our social media, our YouTube. Yeah, send us a message. Tell us what you want to hear on the Thursday Throwbacks. We've got a list. Resident Evil's coming. We also have, if we want to give them a little tease,
oh yeah,
we're going to be looking at Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy.
Something very near and dear to my heart. So
absolutely,
yep.
So yeah, look for those on our Thursday Throwbacks. Yeah, you can also support us on Patreon. Make sure you go there, patreon.com/withnerds. You can support us there. You get a lot of cool stuff. Hopefully have some merch for you guys at some point in the future, for those who are help and support us. But yeah, have an awesome week, and remember, everyone's a nerd about something.
Everybody.